Is the problem with the term God? Though the people think of God as being a man. They think of it being a person. They even use the masculine pronouns in reference to God. I mean, that's one of the funniest things about God, is calling him a he.
Well, it's a problem. I mean, and that's certainly been a problem. Jung talked about that a lot, about the exclusion of the feminine within the domains of classic Judeo-Christian thought, for example. I mean, you have Mary, who's a kind of a quasi-deity who pops in sort of like as a fourth member of the Trinity, but the exclusion of the feminine is definitely a conceptual problem. Is the fact that God is conceptualized as a human being or as a man a problem? It's a problem and a solution. I mean, if you remove the human element of God, then God gets so abstract that it's easy for him to float off into space and to never show up again. You lose the human connection. I mean, the way the Catholics solve that to some degree is that they have God, who's sort of at the top of the hierarchy, and then they have this hierarchy of saints who are sort of like gods but half human, and then they have human beings at the bottom. And that allows for a, what would you say, a continual chain of communication between the highest level of abstraction and the actual, the actual concrete person. But the other thing that's useful about the conceptualization of God in anthropomorphic terms is that, and this is worth noting, is there is nothing more complex in the cosmos than a human being. So if you're looking for something to represent the ultimate in complexity, it's hard to beat a human being. So your brain is ungodly complicated.
Do you think that these stories exist because somewhere in our code, somewhere in our very being, we understand that there is a need for this order, to find this frequency?
They're an expression of our deepest being. They're an expression of how it is that we must live in order to live.
In order to reach our full potential.
Even more than that. More than that. Even to avoid hell. And you can think of you can think about hell as Nazi Germany if you want. You can think about it as the Soviet Gulag Archipelago or Mao's Cultural Revolution. Like, we can get there, no problem. If you walk down in some of the seedier areas in LA, you'll see people in hell, no problem.
Sure, go to Skid Row.
Yes, and you can tell when those people are there, because they will get angry if you look at them. And you'll walk a big berth around them. You're not going to come within 10 feet of the, let's call it, psychogeography of their existence. Right, and that they're in a place. It's a metaphysical place, but it's not defined by the damn geography.
Right.
Skid Row is as much of a psychological place as it is a physical place. In fact, it's more a psychological place, but that doesn't make it any less a place. And if you descend into the hell of Skid Row deep enough, you'll get to the point where most of your thoughts are murderous. And that's hell as a suburb of the underworld, fundamentally. That place exists. People visit it all the time, and sometimes they don't get out.